Hello, everyone. Before we get started, I have some introductions I'd like to do, starting with myself. Hi, I'm Shannon. I'm the founder of Alpine Sisters. If you're new to our community, welcome. If you've been here before, we're happy to have you back. We've recently shifted our focus from selling outdoor gear to fully embracing outdoor education. My vision is for a future where the outdoors is a space for all, where everyone feels included and empowered to pursue their outdoor passions. Alpine Sisters aims to support traditionally underrepresented groups, such as women and people of color, by providing resources and opportunities to thrive in the outdoor world. To bring this vision to life, I believe in breaking down barriers through free outdoor education, whether it's through the Alpine Sisters blog, YouTube channel, or events like tonight's class. Alpine Sisters is committed to offering accessible learning experiences for all. You can learn more about this on our website at www.alpine-sisters.com. We rely on the generosity of our community to support our ongoing efforts to offer free education. If you find value in tonight's class and have the means and would like to contribute to our cause, we welcome donations of any size. The vast majority of your donation goes directly to your instructor here tonight, who has graciously volunteered her expertise. I'll throw a link in the Alpine Sisters Venmo account in the chat box below. You can also support us on our social media accounts through engaging with our content or on our website. When you click on links through our outdoor education blog articles, we receive a small commission as an affiliate partner. Your support helps us continue to provide valuable resources and opportunities to outdoor enthusiasts from all walks of life. Before we dive into tonight's session, I'd like to extend a massive thank you to our generous sponsor for making our barricade giveaway possible this evening. Wild Ideas is a cherished family-run business embarking on their 26th year of serving the wilderness community. Crafted by three aerospace engineers with a shared love for lightweight backpacking, Wild Ideas brings over 50 years of collective expertise to the table. Founded in 1998, Wild Ideas embarked on a mission to revolutionize wilderness hiking while minimizing impact on wildlife. Their Barricade portable food storage canister marked a pivotal moment in the industry, addressing common concerns such as weight and accessibility with significant design improvements. Crafted with precision using the finest materials available, the Barricade embodies strength and reliability, making it the go-to choice for many wilderness enthusiasts worldwide, like the incredible German adventurer Melanie Vogel, whom the Wild Ideas family holds dear to their hearts. Melanie embarked on an extraordinary solo trek across Canada, spanning from the Atlantic Ocean to the Arctic Ocean and down to the Pacific Ocean. She's amazing. If you haven't heard of her before, I highly recommend looking her up. Throughout her epic trek, Melanie's use of the Barricade exemplified her commitment to responsible wilderness practices and wildlife conservation. Its carbon fiber composite construction and secure locking mechanism offered reliable protection against bears and other wildlife, allowing Melanie to minimize the risk of human wildlife conflicts through proper food storage. Thank you again, Wild Ideas. We're so excited to have your support here tonight. We will be announcing the giveaway winner at the conclusion of tonight's class, so stick around. And now, I'm excited to introduce to you our speaker for our very first virtual live class, Jenny Hunter. With roots in Arizona and freshly transplanted to the breathtaking landscapes of Oregon, Jenny brings a wealth of outdoor experience and expertise. From her earliest days growing up in Arizona, Jenny has fostered a deep love for camping and backpacking, igniting a passion that continues to shape her adventures to this day. You'll often find her recreating outdoors on weekends, accompanied by her partner and furry companion, Oakley. Jenny's affinity for the outdoors has led her to explore some of the most stunning wilderness areas, but her heart remains captivated by the beauty of the Ray Lakes Loop in California, a journey she holds dear to her as her favorite backpacking trip. As an avid outdoor enthusiast, Jenny knows the importance of reliable gear to enhance the adventure. Her current setup includes the top of the line essentials, including none other than the Wild Ideas Barricade for secure food storage. With her wealth of knowledge and experience, dedication to exploration, and commitment to outdoor stewardship, Jenny Hunter is sure to inspire and enlighten us all. Please give a warm welcome to Jenny.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen with you. So one moment. Okay. And can you guys see my screen now? Awesome. All right. So first of all, thank you very much for having me tonight and for joining us. We're going to talk about why food storage matters. We're going to talk about storage equipment options, and we're going to touch base on some food storage tips and some leave no trace tips. So I'm really excited to share this with you. And the first thing I want to say is that no one gets food storage right 100% of the time. Today's topics are really to help you minimize the chance of an animal food encounter in the wild. I have been recreating outdoors since I was a kid, and I've been backpacking both with others and solo for the last 10 years. And 2 years ago, my boyfriend and I were on a camping trip, and we were at June Lake for a night. We got in really late, and we chose to set up our pop-up tent on the ground instead of up on our truck like we normally do. We made the lazy choice. We went to bed. And we woke up at about 2 a.m. to the sound of our 5-gallon water cooler being knocked over, and it had been on top of our food cooler. So after years of being incredibly responsible, we got complacent. We left our cooler out. We woke up to a giant bear 5 feet from our tent eating all of our food. It was about 45 minutes. We listened to it eat everything in there, and it was terrifying. Don't know if you've ever woken up to a bear eating all of your food 5 feet away from you, but it's not a great sound. The next morning, we got up once the bear had left and had been gone for a while. We got up, we cleaned everything up. Obviously, it made a huge mess. And the next morning, I was ashamed. I've been doing this for years. I am not new to the Sierra Nevada. I know better. And I got complacent, and we forgot. And it's not okay, because we put ourselves in danger. We put other campers in danger. And honestly, we also now put that bear in danger. People have, heard that, and they're like, well, it happens. And oh, the bears in California, they're used to humans and food anyway. It's not an excuse. And so that's actually part of why I decided to start talking about this topic, because even for those of us that are regular outdoor recreators, we need reminders. So without further ado, it is so important for us to not only keep ourselves safe in the outdoors, but to be conscious of the effect that we have on our outdoor environments and the animals that live there. We have to take the steps necessary to ensure that we keep bears and other animals safe in the environment. So I know not all of you are on video, but if you use the hand option at the bottom of our screen, how many of you have camped or backpacked before? I assume that's why we're here. How many of you have run into a bear in your adventures? Yeah, it's not fun, right? They're gorgeous, but it's not fun. They are also intimidating and terrifying, partially because they're used to our food. And when we run into them, they are often looking for our food. So I want to talk about the animals that you're going to encounter that look for your food, right? Obviously, bears, they're the most obvious. They're the most well discussed. But there are lots of other animals that are going to try to get to your food. So you've got rats and mice. They're tiny, but they do a lot of damage. One time I was backpacking the Grand Canyon, and a friend left a granola bar wrapper in her hip belt pocket. And in the Grand Canyon, they have these big metal tees that you hang your backpacks from. And we woke up the next morning, and a rat or raccoon or something decided to go ahead and chew right through all of the backpacks trying to find her food. So again, it's not just bears we're concerned about, it's any rodent or critter that might want to get into your food. And we'll talk about, in addition to bear cans, some of the other tools that you can use to help reduce that. You also have obviously raccoons. Marmots are a pain. If you've ever backpacked in the Sierra Nevadas or Colorado, they are voracious and they will eat through anything. They will eat through the thickest canvas to get to a tiny little nugget of granola. So one of the biggest misconceptions about food safety is that it's not just food. So all of your food needs to go into a smell-proof container, but there's a lot of other items that you should store as well. Your deodorant. If you take deodorant when you're backpacking, not all of us do, but it should go in your bear can. Toothpaste, sunscreen if it smells good. If it smells like coconut, someone's probably going to want to eat it. Your cooking utensils. If they are dirty, if they have had food on them, you should absolutely put your cooking utensils in your bear can. That goes for spoons and forks. If you have a mug that you had some hot chocolate in and you have not washed it out properly, it all goes inside. Trash is a big one. So obviously you have your used Mountain House containers, you have your granola bars for the day, but you also have personal trash. Anything that smells is going to attract attention. Whether it smells good to you or not, it doesn't matter. If it smells good to somebody and it should go in that container. So kind of a hot topic. And I think that Shannon actually has another class she's going to host on personal hygiene in wilderness, but use personal hygiene items. If you are using tampons, if you're using baby wipes, those should go probably in, I put mine in like a double plastic bag, and then they go in my bear can. If you use those things, and then dispose of them at the next possible trash. But if you have them with you, they shouldn't remain in your bag at night because they will attract attention. So let's think about, how far away do you think that a bear can smell food? A bear can smell food from anywhere between 1 to 2 miles away. In Yosemite, for example, there's a bear every 2 to 3 square miles. So 300 to 500 bears in Yosemite National Park, which means that there is always likely a bear within 1 to 2 miles of your campsite. So the snacks that you have before you go to bed and you don't want to leave your tent to put them away in your bear can, somebody can smell that. Shannon, looks like we have a question. Can you pull that up for me?
That's actually just for me. I
Perfect.
was referring to your Yuckies is an awesome way to store your tampons in your canister. For those who are interested in not using plastic bags, they're compostable. They're pretty cool.
Absolutely. All right. So food storage tools. This is what we're really here to talk about tonight. There are a few options. The Bear Canister is my preferred food storage. It's a hard-bodied storage container. It is built to outstand claws and teeth, whether that's bears, mice, rats, raccoons, doesn't matter. Bear bag, that is probably historically the most popular food storage option because it's lightweight. So bear bags are made of a specialized fabric that do block large tooth penetration, but they don't do anything for small tooth penetration. So rats and other rodents can still get into bear bags. But the bigger problem with bear bags is that most often people don't properly hang them. If you're experienced with bear bags, you know how to use them, you're confident that you hang them properly, that's awesome. But if you are not 100% sure you know how to hang a bear bag, it's not going to do any good. They're finding more and more often bears are figuring out how to get them down from trees, and it just leads to the same problem. You will find a lot of thru hikers still use bear bags because they're trying to stay lightweight, but if you're in an area with bears, a bear can is the way to go. So there are a couple bear can options, and I'm going to show you both of what I have. I used to use a bear can, a Bear Vault 450. So Bear Vault 450 is kind of your tried and true heavier plastic bear can. It is easy to close, but it's not easy to open. It has these tiny little teeth that get locked in, and you hear them as it tightens, you hear them click, and the bear can't open it up. It needs fingers to push these tiny little teeth in so you can open your bear can. Well, it also means that when you wake up in 40-degree weather, your fingers are cold, the plastic is hard, you can't get to your breakfast, and it is very frustrating. So there's a trick to these. You can use a credit card to learn how to open these. If this is your bear can of choice, look up the credit card trick. It will save you lots and lots of frustration. But my personal preference is the Wild Ideas barricade. So I made the switch to a barricade, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years ago when I was doing some longer distance backpacking trips. These are half the weight of a Bear Vault. They're also on the inside, like all of the space is usable. So in a Bear Vault, you have like the lip that takes up space. This is all completely usable. It's made out of carbon fiber, so it's a sturdier material. Excuse me, it's a sturdier material, and it's a much lighter material. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, as Wild Ideas is our sponsor tonight, and they're the ones who are giving away a barricade can. Another option, if you are not in bear territory, that is awesome and lightweight, is a rat sack. So you can get these at REI or most outdoor outfitters. They are super light, and they're really meant for your trash or your snacks. They are weaved stainless steel mesh. So sorry. And critters cannot get their teeth through this. So when I'm backpacking, like in Arizona, I'm not going to carry a bear can. There's no bears. I'm not worried about it. But I am worried about someone trying to get in and ruin my pack or ruin my tent. So I will put all of my food in this. It just has a Velcro opening at the top, and I'll put all of my food in it at night. And I also put all of my trash in it at night. And then I just find a nice spot to hang it away from my tent. And this is a lifesaver. It's lightweight, it's cheap. I highly recommend you get one of these. The last thing, and I don't have one to show you tonight, but op sacks are amazing. Odor proof sack is what it stands for. It's actually, the brand is op sack. It is a giant Ziploc bag, and it is smell proof. So oftentimes I will stick my trash in an op sack and then put it in my bear can. If I have like snacks that I'm only eating half of, I will put them in my op sack and then put them in my bear can. They come in multiple sizes. You can get them in like a regular Ziploc size, or they come in a giant size. So they're super handy. I always have them with me on backpacking trips, and I carry extras just in case you need them for something besides food. They're a great option. All right. So which park do you think does not specify bear canister requirements in their backcountry permits? Does anyone have a guess?
Olympic National Park definitely does. I'm guessing Yosemite does. Is this a trick question?
It is a trick question. So Canyonlands even requires. Each of these parks requires bear canisters for backpacking certain trails during different times of the year. It is always a good idea to check with your national park website, contact the ranger station to find out what their food storage requirements are, and read your permit thoroughly. Some parks, like the parks in California, Yosemite, Kings Canyon, Sequoia, they will not let you enter a backpacking trail without a bear can. If you do not show up with your own, they will rent you a very heavy one. You don't want that. But that being said, a lot of parks will actually rent you a bear can. You can rent them from retailers like REI. So if you don't want to invest in purchasing one, there are other options. Wild Ideas also rents their barricades on their website. I think they're worth it. So if you don't want to invest, if you're just going to go on one backpacking trip this year and maybe another one in a couple years, you don't have to put out the full amount to buy a bear can. Renting them from Wild Ideas is a great option. They will mail them to you and you mail it back when you're done. Any other questions, Shannon, before I move on?
None yet. Heather was saying that's interesting because Canyonlands doesn't have that requirement for rafters. So interesting
So
that they do when you're backpacking through there.
it depends on the time of year. And because there are bears in Canyonlands, they're not in the entire park though. So they may not be where the river rafting runs. I don't know the answer to that. I just know that they do have a couple of trails that do require it when you get your permits. So kind of going back to talking about the different options. Again, these are my arguments for a bear canister. They're durable. They're not that heavy anymore. They used to only be an option to have heavy bear canisters. But with the barricades, for example, the Bear Vault 450, which is the smaller Bear Vault that I have, that weighs 2 pounds and 1.6 ounces. The barricade only weighs 1 pound, 2 ounces. So they have made huge leaps and bounds in bear can weight. They're easy to store. You don't have to learn to hang them. You just need to find a secure spot to store them. So I usually put mine like up against a tree, or if there's like a little rock outcropping, I'll try to stick it in that rock. You want to be careful and make sure you do secure it though, because I have heard, I was on the Tahoe Rim Trail a couple of years ago, and I met a woman whose bear can actually got knocked into a lake because she didn't properly secure it. So it is important to find a space where you can tuck it in, stick some rocks around it, and kind of have a nook. The other benefit of putting a rock on it is you can usually hear when a bear knocks that off in the middle of the night. Not that you want to get up and defend your bear can, but it might give you a heads up that you are going to have to go look for it when you wake up. They usually don't
Jenny,
go very
one
far.
quick question here. Allie was asking, what size did you say that you use again?
So I use the Barricade Scout. It's the smallest one that they sell. And I usually fit about 4 days of food in it. And that is 500 cubic inches in volume versus the Bear Vault 450 is 440 cubic inches in volume. Might not sound like a lot, but it does make a difference when you're stuffing extra food in there. The nice thing about bear canisters, again, no critter access. Their tiny little teeth cannot get through, and it doubles as a stool. You don't get that with a bear bag. So when I'm backpacking, I don't carry a chair. I might carry a sit pad. My sit pad goes right on top of my bear can, and that's my chair for the night, which is kind of comfy.
One more quick question from Mariah.
Question is one thing I was wondering is how is the ventilation like for you in the bear canister? Like if you have like certain foods in there, would it is it really moisty? Do you have to worry about that when you pack your food and stuff?
Well, so most of the food that I bring would either be dehydrated or it would be in like individual little packets. So I don't usually have a lot of moisture in my bear can, but what kind of food are you thinking you might bring that would cause moisture?
Well, I'm actually a beginner. I've never actually went backpacking before. So I'm just trying to, I know that some people don't bring dehydrated food. Some people actually bring foods that don't have to be refrigerated that are not dehydrated. I just want to get your opinion on that because I know that I saw a video that a lady brought I forgot what it was, but she said that it rotted inside of the bear canister.
Yeah, I personally, when I'm backpacking, I wouldn't bring anything that has like high oil content or high moisture content because it's not going to last. So like cheese is a really good topic to talk about when you're thinking about food. If you have a high moisture cheese like mozzarella, that is not going to do well in a bear can on a backpacking trip for 4 days. But if you have a really dry cheese, that's going to do better because it doesn't have a high oil and fat content to it. So those are definitely things to think about when you're picking food to take with you. Does that help?
Yeah, that does help. Thank you.
Absolutely. If you have more questions about that, like, or as you're getting ready to prepare for backpacking trips, if you want to talk about food options, you're always welcome to reach out, and I'm happy to talk with you about it.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It is all trial and error. I promise. It takes a couple of trips and you start to figure out what does and doesn't work for you. I want to talk about some tips to help you fit everything in the bear can. That is always a big concern. You know, everyone looks at this can and they say, how do I get 4 days of food in this? One thing that I do, so a lot of dehydrated food, if you look at the back, it's actually 2 servings. Now, if you are doing a lot of miles, you might be really hungry and you might eat all of this. A lot of times I plan ahead and I split my dehydrated meals in half. So I will portion it out ahead of time, put them in 2 small Ziploc baggies, and then I will just reuse this container for 2 nights in a row to cook my meal in so that I can reduce the amount of food I'm carrying, because you also don't want to have food to throw away on the trail, right? It's not good to bury your food. A lot of places you might be backpacking are going to have burn bans, so you can't burn your food. You definitely don't want to put your food in any water sources. So, you know, again, especially if you're beginning, it's going to take time to get used to understanding how much food you should carry with you. But I know from my personal experience, I usually eat half of one of these before I go to bed at night. So yeah, pre-portioning them out helps me save space, but also all of these packages have lots of excess air. So a trick that you can do is take just a tiny, like a pin, poke a pinhole in this, let all the air out, tape it with some duct tape, and you actually save yourself more space than you would expect. So that's one thing that I do to help fit all my food in a bear can. I also, if I am buying a packet of packages, so let's say I buy like a box of individual peanut butter packages, get rid of the box. You don't need the box. You just need the individual packages. Or if I have instant coffee that I'm taking and it comes in a package, get rid of the package. Just take the tiny little individual packets, take enough, because those packages normally come with, you know, 7 or 8 days. You only need 3 or 4. Don't take extra. That helps too. Get flexible. I literally mean crush your granola bars into the corner. If you have an open spot and it's along the curved wall, fit your granola bar in there. It tastes the same whether it is crushed, straight, it doesn't matter. It's still delicious when you've been hiking for 8 hours straight. And the last thing I would say is to get it all in the bear can ahead of time. Don't leave on your trip thinking like, oh, I'll figure this out when I'm in the car and getting out at the trailhead. Test it out at home. Make sure that you can get everything to fit in your bear can ahead of time. One other thing to remember is you don't have to put your first day of food in your bear can. If you're starting in the morning and you say you're going to have a snack in the morning and you're going to have lunch, don't put that in the bear can. You're going to consume it before you get to camp that night. So as long as you're going to eat it on your first day, doesn't count towards that space. All right, Emily, we're going to talk about your question now. So the camping triangle, kind of a classic theme, and it's pretty simple. So you have your tent, your sleeping area, your hammock, whatever you're sleeping in, and you want your kitchen area to be roughly 100 paces away from that. So 100 yards is 90 to 100 paces, depending on your step. And so you want your kitchen area to be, call it 100 paces away from your tent, and it should be opposite, like it should follow the wind direction. So if wind is blowing from your kitchen area, it's not blowing towards your tent. And then your food cache, where you're going to stash your bear can, should be in a triangle away from your tent and away from your kitchen area, right? So you don't want to have your food cache and your kitchen area close together, because your kitchen area is going to smell like food. And if it smells like food and you have your food cache there, it's more likely that a bear is going to find it. And you don't want either of those things near your tent. So when you're setting up camp, it is important for you to scope out the space and plan ahead of time and make sure you have enough room to separate those things. Don't cook food in your tent. That is a big no-no for multiple reasons. One, makes your tent smell. Two, it's dangerous. If wind happened to come up underneath the outside of your tent fly, you could catch your tent on fire. Just don't do it. Be safe. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about leave no trace. So food should be properly stored anytime you're not using it. If you set up camp and you're going to go to the lake nearby, if you're going for a short hike, if you're going to take a nap for a little while, don't leave your food out. Anytime you're not eating your food, cooking your food, messing with your bear can, put it away. When possible, one thing that I find is helpful is I don't ever put food in my cook pot. If you put food in your cook pot and you now have smells in your cook pot should go in your bear can. It's more weight, more space that gets taken up in there. I only ever boil water in my cook pot, and I always either cook my food in the dehydrated packs, or I also will cook food in like a Ziploc pouch inside of an insulated bag. You can make your own. There are tutorials online for them. There are great options to buy just insulated like hot pockets that you can cook your food in. But that's something I definitely suggest is don't put food in your cook pot. Don't ever wash your utensils in a lake or in a stream. It's not good for the environment. And also that will attract more animals to the water source that you now need. Are there any questions in general about leave no trace? Are you guys familiar with the leave no trace principles?
We talk maybe speak to about where to do the wash up and everything. Because I think
Yeah. So similarly to how we set up our campsite, you should always, if you're going to wash anything out, that should be at least 100 yards away from your camp and 200 yards away from any water source, because we don't want to contaminate the water source. Again, best practice, I think, is to cook your food in the dehydrated bag, keep the trash in the dehydrated bag. You don't need to wash that out. You just zip it up, maybe put it in one of those op sacks so that smells don't come out of the dehydrated bag. And then honestly, if you're out for a few days, I don't wash my spoon. I might wipe it off with a bandana, but I don't use like soap to wash it off. I'm out there for 3 or 4 days without a shower anyway. It's typically okay.
Elaborating, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So a couple other things specifically about bears. If there is a campsite that provides a food storage locker, use it. It's there for a reason. It's because there are known bears in the area. The Forest Service or National Park Service has provided it for you. Don't ignore it. Just use it. And again, remember, anything that might smell, it could seem like food to a bear. Even if you don't think it smells like food, they might think it smells like food. And then if you're recreating in grizzly country, also be aware that like clothing that might have had food spilled on it, it smells. It should probably go with your bear can until it can be cleaned. And that goes for any of your gear. If you have food scent on any of your gear, store it away from you while you're sleeping at night. And that's definitely more important in grizzly country. Obviously, there are other safety precautions you should be taking, like bear spray, and just being more experienced before you're camping in those areas. That tonight is the information that I have to share with you, specifically about bear cans and food safety. But Shannon, I'd like to know if you have any more questions that you'd like answered, or if anybody here has questions.
I know I personally really liked the idea of poking the holes into the dehydrated food bags. I thought that was brilliant. Anyone else? Do you have any questions for Jenny? Jamie saying, any tips if you do plan to hang food?
Honestly, I don't hang food bags. But if you do, I would recommend find someone who does it and who does it well and ask them to teach you. You can also, there are online tutorials for it. But most importantly, in regards to food bags, just make sure they're allowed in the area that you're hiking.
It's really, I've hiked in the Boundary Waters often, or camped, and you are supposed to hang your stuff there. It's oftentimes there's one tree, and I always thought of it like the dog dish. The bear always knows which tree.
Uh-huh.
And I had some alternate ways of doing it that we never had a problem, even with bears in the camp. But yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard. And it's supposed to be so far away from the tree trunk and so far up, and hung a dry sack once, not with all the OPSAC stuff. I mean, this is probably 30 years ago. And a little mouse crawled up could still get there and smell exactly where the granola was and chewed a hole right in the sack, right? So yeah, I mean, things are more technical these days, but I do have a comment, and I know this is true for the Boundary Waters and the Superior Hiking Trail, and even this picture on the bottom left, 100 yards, most campsites are not set up to have the kitchen 100 yards away.
I think that it's a really good guideline. If you're in a spot where you can't, you can't.
Okay.
Right. But to try is the best.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, Jenny, do you have any thoughts about URSACs? I know you mentioned the OPSAC. Do you have any URSAC thoughts?
So URSACs fall under the bear bag category, right? They're made of the same material. It's just a brand of bear bag. So my personal opinion on it is still, I don't use them. But again, I know a lot of thru hikers who do. I have friends who use them. I have friends who hang them improperly, and when I'm camping, I just make sure that I'm nowhere near their sack. So yeah, again, it's super important to make sure that you're using it properly. So you guys can either find me on Instagram or you can email me directly. And if I don't have the answer, I'll be happy to help you find it.
Jenny, thank you so much. That was really, really awesome. And it's interesting how you can be doing this for so long and people just have different tips and tricks, and it's really cool and interesting. And I really, really appreciate you sharing. I also want to thank all of you for being here tonight. This is our first live classroom, and I can apologize for my glitchiness on my end. Jenny, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Ladies, thank you so much for coming tonight, and we'll see you next time.